A high school student named Tommy Riley, due to unfortunate circumstances, has to move with his father to start over. However, their new home is located in a rough neighborhood infested with gangs. On his first day at the new school, a group of local teenagers tries to intimidate him. To make matters worse, Tommy discovers that 3 of his tormentors are in the same class as him. Being the newcomer, Tommy chooses not to cause trouble and agrees when they ask him to switch seats several times. But his patience runs out when they demand a 4th change. Refusing to obey, Tommy stands his ground, which enrages them. Luckily, the teacher arrives just in time to prevent a fight. Despite threats of retaliation, Tommy avoids confrontation during recess thanks to the intervention of another gang. Rivalries between gangs are intense at the school and often result in clashes, such as one in which the leaders face off in a duel, one even resorting to a blade. The teachers intervene before a clear winner emerges. Beyond school troubles, Tommy also faces problems at home. Returning from school, he encounters debt collectors because his family had been forced to move after his father's severe gambling debts. Following the death of his mother, things had only worsened, and now, due to his father's mistakes, 2 armed debt collectors stand at their door. Fortunately, they don't harm him, only warn about his father's unpaid debts from the past 2 weeks. To ease his father's financial burden, Tommy decides to take a job as a dishwasher at a local diner owned by his classmates' parents. One night, however, boys from his school show up at the diner looking to settle scores. When they see Tommy working there, a fight nearly breaks out, but an older man unexpectedly intervenes. The stranger is Jack, a local boxing promoter, who admires Tommy's fighting skills and invites him to participate in an underground boxing match. At first, Jack offers $600, but Tommy refuses and insists on $50 instead. After tough negotiations, Jack agrees to Tommy's terms, sealing the deal in front of Dawn, the diner owner's daughter. The following night, Tommy shows up at the illegal fight, where Jack introduces him to Noah, his assigned trainer and caretaker. Noah's first advice is to treat the upcoming fight like a battlefield. Fairness doesn't matter, because nobody cares in that ring. Tommy soon learns that his opponent will be Black Death, a fighter infamous for his dirty tactics. Surprisingly, Tommy runs into his classmate Romano, who warns him to watch out for Black Death's cheap shots, especially with his right hand. Taking the advice to heart, Tommy steps into the ring. Most of the crowd cheers wildly for Black Death. Noah's warning proves true, as Black Death immediately resorts to dirty tactics, elbowing Tommy and making him bleed from the temple. The referee ignores the foul play, as such behavior is accepted in underground boxing. Despite the unfair hits, Tommy perseveres. He retaliates with relentless attacks and eventually knocks out Black Death. Tommy's unexpected victory stuns the crowd, the gamblers, and even the organizers. The next day, Tommy is summoned by Horn, Jack's superior, to receive his payment. Impressed by his performance, Horn offers him more opportunities to fight. But Tommy refuses, sticking firmly to his demand of $50. Later that day, he meets Dawn, who openly expresses disappointment in his choice to become an underground boxer. She is relieved, however, when she learns that Tommy only fought once and has no intention of continuing. Everything changes. Though when Jack invites Tommy to meet Horn again that afternoon after a short conversation, Horn reveals that the 2 men who had visited Tommy's house were actually his employees. To make matters worse, Tommy's father had started gambling again, and now owed a debt of $15,000. Horn then offered Tommy a way to pay off his father's debt easily by becoming his fighter in a few matches. As expected, Tommy accepted the offer to save his father. On his way back home after meeting Horn, Tommy found his schoolmate Lincoln being attacked by members of a gang. He jumped in to help, but since they were outnumbered, the 2 boys were forced to run. After escaping their pursuers, Tommy and Lincoln talked, and Lincoln revealed that despite being so young, he was already married with children and had turned to illegal boxing to support his family, just like Tommy. Later that night, Tommy went to one of Lincoln's fights where his friend initially struggled against an older opponent, but eventually came out victorious. Watching Lincoln's match only deepened Tommy's curiosity about Horn. Seeking answers, He went to Noah's house and asked about Horn's past. He discovered that Horn had once been a professional boxer who even claimed the heavyweight world title. Shockingly, Horn had only suffered a single defeat in his career, which he immediately avenged in a rematch, leaving his opponent permanently injured. However, Horn's career ended abruptly due to a severe leg injury, and despite undergoing several surgeries, he was forced into retirement. Tommy's life began improving significantly once he entered the underground boxing world. Dawn became a constant companion, and he grew closer to Romano and Lincoln, training and spending time with them daily. But tragedy struck when Romano fought Shortcut, an opponent who seemed inferior on paper. Despite dominating the match, Romano fell victim to Shortcut's foul play. He had coated his gloves with a mysterious substance and used it to suffocate Romano during the 5th round. When Romano finally broke free, his vision blurred instantly, crippling his ability to fight back. Seizing the chance, Shortcut unleashed a sadistic beating, tormenting him while the referee failed to stop the match. Unable to watch any longer, Tommy rushed to the bell and rang it himself, forcing the fight to end. By then, however, Romano was already unconscious in his corner. The next day, Tommy visited him in the hospital, only to find his friend still comatose. Tragically, doctors soon declared Romano brain dead. Fueled by a desire for revenge, Tommy waited for his chance, which finally came when he stepped into the ring against Shortcut. Once again, Shortcut tried to rely on his dirty tricks, but this time Tommy was prepared. In a heated bout, he struck Shortcut with a low blow that left him writhing in agony, before unleashing a relentless barrage of punches. In the end, Tommy emerged victorious in the very first round. With Romano gone, Lincoln remained Tommy's only close friend. But during one training session, Lincoln suddenly collapsed, his body weakened by lingering injuries. Doctors discovered that he had suffered a severe head blow the previous week, which left him with signs of brain damage. To prevent further harm, they advised him to take a mandatory 60-day break from boxing. Horn, however, had other plans for Lincoln. That night, Tommy was shocked when he saw his scheduled opponent fighting someone else. Seeking an explanation, he confronted Horn, who coldly revealed his plan. Tommy would be forced to fight Lincoln. Tommy begged him to cancel the match, but his pleas went unheard. On the night of the fight, Dawn eagerly attended, while Tommy lacked enthusiasm. Lincoln, on the other hand, was excited to face his friend in the ring. By the second round, Horn threatened Tommy, using Dawn as leverage and warning that she would be harmed if Tommy didn't fight seriously. Yet, Tommy held back, refusing to target Lincoln's head, knowing it could prove fatal. Lincoln eventually realized the truth in Tommy's words. Understanding the senselessness of the match, he chose to end the fight early. To the great disappointment of the crowd, Lincoln's decision enraged Horn. Furious at being defied, Horn struck him hard on the head without hesitation, knocking Lincoln out of the ring. At that moment, Tommy realized Horn had gone too far. He needed to be taught a lesson about the seriousness of his actions. Determined, Tommy stepped into the ring and challenged him to a duel. The terms were clear. If Tommy won, Horn would have to clear his father's debt. But if Horn won, Tommy would be forced to work for him indefinitely. Horn accepted, but added one condition. They would fight bare-knuckled. With his background as a former boxing champion, Horn's experience initially gave him the upper hand, shown by his taunts and humiliations directed at Tommy. However, his arrogance soon became his downfall. Though young Tommy was clever, he quickly understood Horn's fighting style and began using it against him. Then, just as Horn had done to him earlier, Tommy provoked Horn into fighting in anger. Observing Horn's reactions, Tommy realized that his fury was his greatest weakness. Still, that alone wasn't enough to secure victory. So Tommy feigned an injury, pretending to have broken his right arm. Seizing the moment, he caught Horn off guard, landing a clean strike to his face, followed by a furious barrage of 13 punches that sent Horn crashing to the mat. With Horn defeated, Tommy and his father were finally free of their debt. The film closes with Tommy celebrating his victory alongside Lincoln and Dawn. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.